Welcome everybody to the PodAskew Podcast. I am CJ, and with me, as always, is my hetero life mate, Rico. What's going on, man?
I had an interesting week. I saw a movie, and then I went on a weird little camping trip.
Well, that's kind of apropos considering what we're going to be talking about tonight, but we'll get into that in a minute. But,
right.
And before you get into your stories, I think we need to shout out some people and give some people some love. So I think
absolutely
we need to go right off from the beginning here. If you're listening to this, then you have probably already heard Cinema Wars, our adventure into the game show format. And I want to give love to everybody that came on that episode. Of course, Stephanie, who's always been a part of the PodAskew family, our newest PodAskew family member, Mike, our logo designer, as well as Sam Lemons, who's been on board since day one and, gave us some extra music. So thank you to all those guys. But I also want to give a shout out to our contestants. So to Joe, your boy, for stepping in for me because I couldn't host and be on the thing. Which, by the way, man, after going back and edited, I need to fight. So we got to get Mike to come on and host it or something so I can fight with you. I got to do that.
Yeah. I could tell you were itching to really fucking be competitive in it.
Oh, yeah, and now it's not a shot at Joe. Joe did an amazing job stepping in and representing PodAskew, so great job to him. But I just want to get on board and do it. It would have been fun to get in and be a part of it. And also to Chris from the Daves, and also Octopus Caveman, OC. That dude's funny as a motherfucker. I mean, everybody was great, but that guy, we'd never talked to him before, and he was entertaining as shit.
And he was a good sport. I mean, I feel like I kind of called him the clone of Ryan Johnson a little too much.
Nah,
but he was a good sport, and he threw some jokes back at me about my whole clone theory thing. He just kept throwing that out there. Yeah, so he's a good dude.
I think Broom Boy and Wilson is going to be a ongoing thing with PodAskew from now on. I think that's a permanent thing in our lexicon.
Yeah. Broom Boy and Wilson can get it.
Don't do that when I'm drinking water, man. I'm going to destroy the equipment.
Be thankful it wasn't scotch this time.
Yeah, whiskey. The other thing I want to say real quick about OC, though, is he, and I don't think I was aware of it at the time we did the recording, but he's a very accomplished artist. And so if you go on to Instagram and look for Octopus Caveman, he has pictures of his art, and it's really good stuff. I'm trying to buy a piece, to be honest with you. I just don't have the funds right now, but
I think if I had the funds, I'd commission him to do something for us.
I'd be curious to see if maybe he'd take his twist on our logo. I'd like to see.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But either way, he's a very accomplished artist. The other thing that he has going on, I don't think I shared this with you yet, Rico, is he also has 7 albums on iTunes. He does this blues jazz thing. His latest album, Karen, is available on iTunes. So if you go to iTunes and search Octopus Caveman, you'll see it. It will come up. So this is a renaissance man for sure. And
yes, he is.
Not that everyone else isn't doing their own thing, because, man, Chris is talented too. Everybody's doing their thing. I got people hitting me up because of our logo trying to get Mike to do stuff for them. So I think we might be getting Mike some work.
That'd be great. The best thing we can look, even if we don't fucking make it, as long as we can make someone else some money, and they can pay us a finder's fee, I'd be happy with that.
Absolutely. So even if they don't pay us a finder's fee, but still. So just left all those guys.
No bullshit. I got rent to pay, motherfucker.
Thanks to everybody who participated in Cinema Wars. I hope everybody's who's listened to it has enjoyed it. It took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. You know what? I owe you a thank you too, Rico. This has been my baby from the beginning. I'm the one that pitched it to you. It's something that I've been passionate about since I came up with the idea, and you ran with it from jump. So I really appreciate that too.
I will give you credit. I could not have sat there and not been itching to fucking argue. You did a really good job, and you were unbiased. You chose the better argument, and ultimately PodAskew lost, but ultimately we
No,
won.
don't tell people that. They may not have listened yet.
Well, then you can edit this whole thing out.
No, we'll leave it in. It's fine. If you're listening out of order like Rico does with everything that he watches, then that'll be fine.
All right. But as long as we're thanking people, I do have to actually issue out an apology.
Oh, what did we do?
Well, you did by proxy. You did it by association, but you also didn't know. Okay. You were the getaway driver who didn't know that we were robbing a bank.
Oh, good. I robbed a bank.
Yeah. I was like, get in the car. Let's go. What the fuck? What'd you do? Let's go. GPS. Where are we going? So one of my loyal fans, is named Ricardo for Rico's Rants. And he did say like, hey, I like the podcast, but it doesn't hold a candle to Rico's Rants. Well, okay. He sort of gave us like a backhand compliment. I also don't think he's listened consistently. He's not listening to PodAskew. Because I think the rants are, it's about a very specific subject and it's never going 2 hours. As much as I talk, it's never going 2 fucking hours.
Yeah, right. Well, and some people are more visual than audio, and that's a visual medium, and this is an audio medium. So, hey, whatever he prefers, more power to him. But
throughout the fucking time that you and I have been recording, and I've mentioned him, I have stupidly assumed that he lived in Amsterdam. Because I know he lives in that area.
Yeah.
He when I told him, I dropped him a line. I'm like, hey man, we talk about you from time to time. And I said, oh yeah, I got this, fan, a good buddy of mine who lives in Amsterdam. And he flipped the fuck out.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he said, Amsterdam? Fuck Amsterdam. I don't live in Amsterdam. He's like, how would you feel if I know you came from Oakland and I said you lived in LA? And I'm like, all right, dude, I'm so sorry. I fucked up. I didn't mean to. I just kept apologizing, and he went on this whole like this thing. And he's just like, I am not like, and he said, okay, I'm from Arnhem. I'm sure I'm butchering. It's Arnhem, which is the filming location and the setting for the Sean Connery movie A Bridge Too Far.
Okay.
So like Michael Caine's in it, Sean Connery's in it, and it has some like pseudo royalty. Oh God! Now, Audrey Hepburn was born there.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So, like it, Ricardo, I officially apologize on the air. But you're absolutely right. We fucked up where you're from, and now we will never discuss this again.
Well, technically, Rico fucked up. I just fucked up by proxy. So
that's what I'm saying. You were the shitty getaway driver, and I fucking robbed the bank. I apologize.
All joking aside, yeah, Ricardo. Seriously, I mean, I've lived in areas where if you said you're from one area and you were from others, it'd been people out of shape. So I know what that's like. So yes, I'll second the apology, even though I wasn't aware we were fucking it up.
It is just kind of interesting to because I've never heard of anybody ever saying fuck Amsterdam. And so like we found like the people that don't live in Amsterdam are like fuck Amsterdam.
Fuck Amsterdam, yeah.
I was like, really? Fuck Amsterdam? I thought it was like the world's Vegas. Like what are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's like the devil's playground.
I thought Monaco was the world's Vegas, to be honest with you.
Well, maybe not Vegas. Or see, I'm just fucking everything up. I don't even know where the fuck I am half the time. But before I drop into my fucking weird story, I saw Shazam.
Oh, did you? See, okay, yeah. So I'm curious about this because I remember you posted something on Twitter, and I was like, because if I could speak for you for a minute, I think your words were, "This is your favorite movie of the DCEU right now." And
yes,
I was like, oh, because that's not saying a whole lot, especially considering the trailer looked horrid.
Yeah, what I think I liked was that, and I'll try not to spoil it because it is pretty fresh, but there might be some very mild spoilers. For the record, my brother Joel, after I told him I really liked it, he went and saw it and he said, "This is the worst fucking movie I've ever seen." I really wanted to get up and walk out. And it was so bad. And then I was like, well, what about this? And he's like, just didn't respond.
Well, at least someone in the family has taste, so that's good.
Yeah, okay. Look, I'll be talking about my brother in this episode, so you may like have differing opinions of him.
Okay.
Nothing bad. Just be like, oh, okay.
Okay.
So first off, Zach Levy, is it Levi or Levy?
I think it's Levi. Yeah.
Levi. He does a good job. The movie really is Big meets Superman. That's really what it is.
I've heard that. Someone else said that too. I forget where I heard it, but that's not the first time I've heard that description of that.
I mean, when I have a buddy who is a hardcore comic book fan and also works at a movie theater, so when the movie was coming out, he saw it early because he's the manager of a movie theater. And he said, "Oh my God, Shazam was actually pretty lit." And I said, "Can you compare it to a movie without spoiling anything so I can get an idea before I see it?" He said, "Big. That's just big." I'm like, okay, all right.
That's a good description, though? Big.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so much so, there's a part, like you've seen in the trailer where Shazam picks up a giant action figure of Batman, and I guess the motion sensor, he moves it and goes, "I'm Batman." And he's like, "Get him, Batman!" and throws the Batman action figure at a fucking villain.
No, I actually haven't seen that, So
there's a part where they're like, Mark Strong is the big bad, and he's chasing after Shazam, and they run through a mall, and through the mall they run through a toy store. There's literally a part where they are running on the floor piano.
Oh, like the one from Big, yeah. Speaking of Big, really quick, I can do this in like 10 seconds, but did you see they're doing a movie called Little?
Yeah.
And it's like an African-American female. Yeah.
It looks good. It looks intriguing.
It's interesting. I just feel like this is a new, and I don't want to get into a whole discussion. Maybe we need to on a different episode, but like that seems to be a trend because they did the same thing with remember that movie? With What Women Want, but they changed it to something else, and it was an African American female that could hear men.
What Men Want.
What was that? What they were calling it? I can't remember. Yeah. So
they just flipped the title, flipped the whole thing, and that's fine.
I'm not finding fault with it. I'm just finding it to be an interesting trend that they seem to be doing lately. So anyway, go ahead.
So it was good. What I was surprised by it was because the trailers and the poster look like a bright, colorful, fucking Deadpool light kind of movie.
Oh, I wouldn't have even called it Deadpool. I would have.
Well, I mean, like that in the sense that he's like shy. He's like he acts like a kid in a sense, and Deadpool kind of acts like an immature teenager.
Which, hey, I'll let you finish, but remind me, I have a very quick Ryan Reynolds point when you're done.
Okay. There's some darkness in this movie. Like when Michael and I watched it, there were kids getting freaked out and scared and like leaving.
Really?
Yeah, there's a little girl behind us who started crying and left.
Because I think I saw on... You said something, not that specific, but you said something about it on Twitter.
I said I would not recommend little kids go.
Well,
like unless they're like they've seen scary shit and they're handling it. But like I told my brother, I said I would not recommend you bring like my nephews, your sons, to see it. Because it looks bright and colorful, but it's like there's demons that are scary as fuck. They kind of look like Venom, so you can understand how like a little kid going to see Venom might get scared.
Sure,
that's the same thing.
If I saw correctly, Arlen jumped in and said that she took her kids and they were fine. So I guess it depends on
And I'm saying it depends on like if any parents like if you know what your kids are going to be scared of. You have to be that gauge. But like there are some demons that will like literally a head got bitten like a demon bit a dude's head off. Like kind of like Venom, but you actually saw like the ripping and spitting it out. There's a dude who gets thrown out of a fucking window at a building. Like honestly, there was a scene that reminded me of Dogma where Loki goes to the board meeting and just kind of taunts and terrorizes people.
Yeah.
There's a scene like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mark Strong nails it as a villain. And Mark Strong is that actor who was in Kingsman. He looks like a bald British Andy Garcia. Is really what
I know who that is. Yeah, he was
Sinestro.
He was Sinestro, but he's also he's Lord Blackwell from Sherlock Holmes. That's where I know him the most from.
He works a lot with Guy Ritchie. Like, he was in Revolver, and one of my favorite performances of him was in Rock and Rolla, which was like very similar to Snatch, which was also, they're all Guy Ritchie films. I've always just been wowed by that guy. And he was also in Kick-Ass. He played the heavy mob boss in the first Kick-Ass.
Only seen it once, so I don't remember too much about it, but yeah.
He's a strong actor, and he's a strong villain. I had a love-hate for, I think you might dig it, because, not to say this is the first thing I think of when I think of you, but you are disabled.
Yeah, and there's the kid with the cane. I'm familiar enough because, did you ever see Justice League War, the animated movie?
I don't think I've seen it fully. I think I saw clips. That's with Darkseid, right?
It's with Darkseid, and it's kind of like it's like an origin story for the Justice League, because they don't know each other leading up to that story in the animated one anyway. And Shazam is part of it. I think, do they call him? I think they actually call him Captain Marvel in that movie, because
they probably call him Captain Marvel.
Yeah, which we've discussed that at length, so we're not going back into that. But and so I'm familiar that he has that. The kid portion of Shazam is a foster child, and he's got the foster family, and the one's got the cane or the crutch. To be honest with you, it kind of hits me on 2 points because of the foster. I wasn't really in the foster system, but being adopted, I was in the foster system, but it was only while paperwork was going through for the adoption. So it was just like a placeholder. I wasn't in the foster system like some of these other kids are. So I don't want to get in a whole political
Right.
Yeah.
But and a good chunk of the movie, which was not even featured in the trailer, was that he's looking for his mom.
Okay.
He's looking for his birth mom. And he is sort of immediately rejecting this foster family, and the foster parents are super loving and
nice people,
supportive and nice people, and they have their rules, but they're not unreasonable. It's just we all pitch in, we all do this shit. And how Billy Batson is just no, you're not my family. I have a family. She's somewhere out there. And I don't want to ruin it, but what happens is kind of predictable, but it's still kind of oof. It hits you you're kind of you don't expect it from a superhero movie for what the scene I'm not saying,
Right.
It is bright. It is colorful. There is a great training montage of them testing all these powers and everything. And
I think you see some of that in
the trailer. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it has in the background, the music that's playing is Queen, and it's
okay.
Don't Stop Me Now.
Oh, good song. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't think of that song without thinking of Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, I've never seen that, so I can't.
You really need to see Shaun of the Dead. It's not a scary zombie movie. It is.
No, it's a comedy, right? It's a parody, isn't it? Or
it's a parody, but
yeah,
it really what it is a romantic comedy that happens to be during the apocalypse.
Gotcha. The thing that intrigues me about Shazam, and I will watch it when it comes to cable or Netflix or one of those things, is the fact that it takes place in Philly.
Yes, that's the other thing. So the entire time I'm watching, I'm like, fuck, CJ needs to see this. Philly, disabled, adoption. You really I think it might hit a little bit more home than you realize.
Well, no, I'm sure those aspects will, to be honest with you, because and I don't want to go to a whole thing, but I saw Man of Steel right after I found my adoptive mother, or my biological mother, I should say, excuse me, and it's right after you Clark Kal-El finds the ship with his father and kind of gets to talk to his father, but not because it's like a computer generated whatever. But you know what I mean? Like
he's talking to the AI thing. Yeah,
that's kind of his essence, though. So anyway, the point being is that like so that kind of hit home for me because of the time I saw it. So yeah, there's probably aspects of it, but like the overall, just like I'll tell you what loses it for me is I don't mind comedy in my comic book movies because obviously I love Deadpool and that's nothing but it looked kind of campy from the trailers, like too campy, and then the suit looked horrible. I don't like the grown-up Shazam. Like, he just looks terrible to me.
The grown-up Shazam suit, because I think we're just like, it's not Superman. It's not Batman. But that's what the suit looks like. That is how the costume looks. I mean, if you're going for comic book accuracy, it looks like it.
No, I've seen it. Like I said, I watched that animated one, but like it looked. When it comes to these live action comic book movies, like I'm not a fan of when they make them look overly muscular. Like for example, Henry Cavill jacked the fuck up to be Superman. Now I'm sure there was still some padding in the suit. I'm not going to sit here and get all high and mighty, but he got jacked up to play Superman. So did Affleck.
As did Ben Affleck. Yeah. As did Momoa.
Did Momoa and to a lesser extent Christian Bale. But I mean, like even then. Yeah. Even then, the suit they had him in didn't like overly pad him. Like it was pretty. I mean, it looked like armor, but it was still form fitting. If that makes any sense, you know. So like and the Shazam one looks like they just like he's like a 13-year-old girl with socks in her bra because she wants to be popular with the high school girls.
I mean, there are no scenes of Zach Levi, whatever the fuck, Levi. There are no scenes of him shirtless showing off his physique. So there's definitely some padding, but it doesn't take you out of the story. Like, because
it did in the trailer, but maybe that's because of the way the trailer's cut. But to me, it lost me. You know.
I mean, even when like I saw, because I was curious, I'm like, how muscular is this dude? I looked it up, and he's
an average guy. Yeah,
he's an average guy who bulked up, but not to the extremity of Affleck or fucking Momoa or Cavill.
Right.
Now, there is a cameo.
Oh, yeah?
Sort of. There is a cameo of a superhero, but you don't see the actor.
Is it the bat?
The bat symbol is in it. There's a bat, a batarang.
Okay.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Do you want me to just tell you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. For our listeners, pause for or skip ahead for 5 minutes and come back.
Yeah. So there's a whole sequence where the disabled kid, the fucking, I just don't remember what his fucking name is.
No, it's fine. Go ahead. But by the way, really quick, can I just say that kid, the actor, I've seen him and he was on a sitcom that didn't last very long. It didn't do very well. I loved it, but he was on a sitcom that I loved with,
Go ahead.
With John Larroquette and a guy from Saturday Night Live. And I forget what the thing was called. I'll have to look it up. But yeah, I like that kid a lot. Well,
he is the kid from It, the remake of It.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah. Or he's one of the kids. He's the kid from It who's not the dude from Stranger Things, if that helps.
Well, yeah, I don't watch Stranger Things, but I think I know who the kid is anyway, so go ahead.
And he's also the nephew of Brian Grazer, who's like a big producer. He's the dude with his hair always sticks straight up, and he works with Ron Howard. Anyways, his name is Jack Glazer. I can't remember the book. He kind of comes off annoying and kind of just weird, but then it makes perfect sense why he's kind of obnoxious and annoying and like this just needy, clingy friend. And then he has good growth in the movie, but part of it is he gets bullied and he's asking Billy Batson to become Shazam so that he can come to the school and show that he's friends with Shazam, right? He's trying to use his popularity, one, to not be bullied, two, to be a little bit popular.
Kind of like, a little bit different, but kind of like when Peter Parker shows up at Liz's party in Homecoming and they were going to have him
exactly the same thing.
Yeah. Real quick, the show that kid was in is called Me, Myself, and I. and it's about the same character at different parts in his life. So John Larroquette plays him when he's like really old, and then the guy from Saturday Night Live plays him when he's like like middle aged, and then the kid plays him as a child in high school or middle school. Anyway, it's a good. It was a good show. It got canceled, but whatever.
All right, so here's the spoiler. At the end, he's sitting at his lunch, and Shazam walks in to sit at his table. Right. Shazam, not Billy Batson.
Yeah.
With his tray, and he's like, "Hey, I just want to sit with my friend, and everybody, just want to hang with my homie. This guy is awesome." He's telling the whole auditorium, and then the disabled kid is looking and all happy that he stepped in for him, and then he said, "I also brought another friend," and the camera pans, and it's the body of Superman.
Oh.
Holding a lunch tray, and he stands next to the disabled kid, and the disabled kid hasn't looked yet.
Freddie Friedman.
Then looks, huh?
Freddie Friedman. So you can just use him by name. Freddie,
yeah. Freddie turns and looks up, and just goes, ah! But you never see the head. It was Henry Cavill's body double or stunt double or something.
Right. So
they brought him in, so you never see Henry Cavill's head. Just this super body with the suit. It's exactly the suit, holding a tray with a lunch on it, and then that's how it ends.
We should reach out to Matty Granger and see if he can confirm who that is. Because I bet you he knows him, because he worked on Man of Steel.
Weirdly enough, when I posted my Twitter review of Shazam, I immediately got followed and liked by the guy who did the training for the Shazam movie.
Oh, neat.
And he's worked on other DC movies.
Neat. All right. Well, that's pretty cool. Rock you.
So for all I know, it was that guy.
Yeah, it could have been. All right. I know you said
I delved a little deeper and I looked up, and Henry Cavill originally wanted to throw in that cameo. He wanted to do it, but they had to time, and they actually thought it was even funnier for the fact they didn't show his face.
So, all right. So, on a scale of 1 to 5 fedoras, what would you give this thing?
1 to 5 fedoras?
Why not? That's your thing. Sure.
That's my gauge.
Yeah. Well, instead of 5 stars, you get the point. Come on.
Okay. If 1 is never watch it and 5 is go out and see it in theaters. 5
is like best movie I've ever seen. 1 is never watch this thing again.
No, it's definitely not the best movie I've ever seen.
So yeah,
it's a 4 then. It's
really? That's still pretty high.
It's still pretty, but you're making it down to 5. Like,
well, that's usually the scale. It's usually 5 stars. I just changed it to fedoras. We're not making this very complicated.
All right. It's 3.5. If Man of Steel is like, let's call Man of Steel a 3.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman's a 3.5. Aquaman's a 3.5. Like, we haven't gotten a 5 for our DCEU. Then Shazam is a 3.5.
Okay. Yeah. If I'm not using fedoras, but I don't know what I would use. I'll have to figure it out later. Maybe handicap symbols. Handicap symbols, maybe.
Yeah, crutches.
Crutches. Fuck you.
Adoption papers.
Adoption papers. I would probably give it like not Shazam, but like
Man of Steel.
Yeah, like Man of Steel is still like 3.5, 4. Like none of them have been. None of them blow you out of the water. Aquaman's probably got the most for me. I would give that a 4 probably.
All right, well.
Because I liked Aquaman a lot. Anyway, I know you said you mentioned your brother Joel earlier, and you said you had a story to tell. So I want to get into that because we have a pretty big series we want to get into, and I don't want to be here until some ungodly hour because Deb's hungry, I'm hungry, and
right.
Yeah.
All right, so my brother Joel, who I actually asked if he'd ever come on the podcast, and he said, sure. And I said, what would you want to talk about? He's like, whatever the fuck you guys talk about. Like, geeky fucking bullshit.
Really? Because with no shit to your family, it seemed like they weren't very supportive of this when we started. So I guess they've come around.
I think they just thought of it as a hobby, personally.
Yeah.
I think they were just like, but I mean, when you and I had a business call, I was in the car with my brother, and it was kind of like yeah, I get to have my own business call, and I have to, I get to make decisions because that's all Joel does is he is constantly being called and being like, yes, I approve this. No, I don't approve this.
Right.
Why would you do that? Joel is the boss, and Joel is, has that authority, and he's also very reasonable and very easygoing. And so I was bragging about the podcast and being like, dude, we got like listeners and shit. Like, this is becoming a real thing. And he said, I'm happy for you. Don't get a big head. Just make sure you know what your limit is. Make sure you realize it. And he's just being a brother, and he gave me financial advice on and whatnot. But I think he supports it. I think he just originally thought it was a thing. And then, so my brother hits me up and says, I want to sneak up to the land with you. And I said, great. Does Dad know? Is this a surprise? You said sneak up. What does that mean? Like, are we not telling Dad he's going to be up there? And he's like, no. Dad knows. Like, I confirmed it with him. I made a plan with him. He'll be up there. We'll get up there. We'll come back the next day in the morning.
That's a long ride for an overnight trip, isn't it?
It's a 2-hour drive if you don't stop.
That's not too bad. Okay, I thought it was something like 4 hours each direction. So
well, no, it took 4 hours for us to get there because I'll get to it.
Well, that's probably just traffic, but I'm saying
no, because it gets 3 miles. There's a bunch of twisty, turny mountain roads, and you can't go like 65 up on those.
Okay.
There's a lot of sharp turns. There's a lot of driving 25 miles an hour just to get where you're going. Like, you're really close by, but it takes forever.
Yeah.
So I go to my brother's house. I wait for him. He was in the middle of a business meeting. He shows up. And the entire time, I'm calling my dad at the land, and he's not answering. I call his cell phone. He doesn't answer. Not that he would have reception up there anyways. It's middle of nowhere.
Right.
I call the house phone, and at his house in Oakland, doesn't answer. I'm thinking, okay, he's either there, and he's just out in the garden, or he's en route, and his phone is disconnected, or he can't. It's no reception, but he's on his way there.
He also could have been asleep, taking a nap or something.
Possible, but unlikely. He's not that type of guy.
You know your dad better than I do.
Yeah. So, he and I, Joel picks me up. We hit the road. It's 2:00. About halfway on the freeway, I said, "Fuck it. Let me call Dad again." Call the land, no answer. Call the cell phone, no answer. Call my dad at the house, thinking he'll never answer because he's not supposed to be there. Dad answers. He's like, "Hey, what are you guys up to?" I'm like, What are you up to, motherfucker? What are you doing?
Yeah,
Are you getting on the road? He's like, for what? We're going to land. Who is? Me and Joel. Since when? And I'm like, and Joel's like, what the fuck? And he grabs the phone. He's like, Dad, what are you doing? Like, it was it was so bizarre to see the reversal of like parent and son flipping, be like, why are you not doing what you said you were going to do?
Yeah.
And my dad's argument was, oh, I forgot. And then I went and did something else. And then I had plans that fucked up, and now I'm home. And Joel and I are like, okay.
Get in the car.
I was like, stop. Don't do. I was like, Dad, are the Red Sox playing today? Oh, yeah, the Red Sox. I'm like, don't watch the Red Sox. If you sit down and look at your computer and start that fucking game, you will never get up here. And I said, don't drink any wine. Don't fucking watch any. Don't do anything. Just pack your shit up, grab your dogs, and get your ass in the car and meet us up here. The odds of Joel and I being at the land together when is very rare because Joel has 2 kids and Joel's got a bunch of things to manage. And
you have another brother too, right? Like there's Joel,
Joel is a twin. And Alex, that's his name, Alex has even less time now because he just had a new baby.
Okay, I knew one of them had a newborn, and I didn't remember which one. So thank you for clarifying. Go ahead.
Alex has a newborn. Alex has the girls. Joel's got the boys.
Oh dear God. Anyway, go ahead.
So Dad said, all right, I'll see what I can do. I'll try and finagle some shit around, and I'll try and get up there. So now Joel and I are like, well, fuck it. We don't have to rush up there because he's not there.
Right.
So we said, fuck it. We'll just take our time. Joel and I saw the movie Hugo by Scorsese when it came out in theaters.
I don't know that one.
It's a little boy, and it's set in like France, and it's all about movies. And personally, it's a boring fucking movie, but I need to rewatch it. There's a part in it when this little girl says, "I want to have an adventure," and that just made Joel and I laugh our fucking ass off. So that's our inside joke between us. And ironically enough, Steph and I said the exact same thing, but like it not as she's like genuine. I want to have an adventure, and Joel's like, I want to make fun of this fucking movie.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
So we said, fuck it, let's go have an adventure. So we still are making our way, and we stop and like have a slice of pizza at this bar that has pizza. And we have a beer, and then we're like, all right, that was fun. Let's get the fuck going. While we're at the pizza place, eating this Neapolitan style slice, and Joel runs pizzerias, so he's like critiquing it. He's like, it's pretty good, but it needs to be like this, and he's just always thinking about what he could add to his restaurant to make it even better than ours.
Yeah, well, it's kind of what I do with the podcast.
Right. And I'm wearing my Ninja Turtles t-shirt, and Joel's like, Rico, you're eating a slice of pizza and you have a Ninja Turtles t-shirt. I need to take a
perfect. Yeah.
He's like, he's like, Arika, I want you to look. I was like, do you want me to pose? Like, hold it? And he's like, no, I want you to look off in the distance and contemplate life for a Ninja Turtle. I'm like, what? I said, just do it. Just pose like that. I just look off in the distance, like just thinking of life as this pizza's in front of me. And my shirt has the fucking TMNT logo. He takes a photo of it, sends it to his best friend, Tony, who has like, he's always been like another brother to me, and he's always been very supportive. He follows us on Twitter. He follows the show. I don't know if he's listening, but he seems like he likes the show.
Cool.
And so Joel sent a photo of that to Tony. Tony's response was, tell Rico I want a sticker of the podcast logo.
Sweet.
And I told Joel to tell him, which I'll just ultimately tell him, or I'm telling him now, Tony, if you want a podcast sticker, you got to earn it. You got to come on the pod. You got to come on this fucking show and earn your sticker.
Earn your sticker, motherfucker.
Yes. So then we make it up there. We get to the land, and it's like 4 hours. Like it was a 4-hour drive when it should have taken 2 hours, 2.5 at the most. But we stopped a couple times, went grocery shopping, and brought some food up. I could say this because my dad's never going to listen to it. Joel did the unthinkable. He cooked steak at the house because my dad's a big advocate of no red meat in the house.
Why?
My dad's a big animal rights. Like he doesn't support killing he doesn't support red meat. He doesn't eat personally red meat. He's never been a fan of it. He really is more leaning towards like chicken and fish. So
he's not a vegetarian, but he just stays away from red meat for whatever reason.
Right, but for health reasons as well as humane reasons, as argument. So the fact that Joel's like, I'm going to fucking cook you the best goddamn steak in your life. I'm like, okay. I've had some great steak. Bought these expensive steaks. And I'm like, Joel, you realize that you're the first person to ever cook steak in this house. He's like, fuck, yes. And so we get up there. We're having fun. We're cooking our steak. Dad's not there. We're hoping that the longer we take, Dad would have a chance to get up there. Call Dad. He's just like, I don't feel like it. And that kind of ruined our mood. Like the fact that.
He didn't even leave? He was still at the house?
He never got out of his chair. He just sat there, watched the game, and kind of got a little drunk. He's like, I've been drinking. We're like, fuck you.
He did exactly what you told him not to do.
Yeah. And he said, I'm tired. Like, you could be tired and drunk up here with your sons.
Yeah, right?
Like, the fact is my dad is 80-something years old.
81.
He's 81. Thank you.
I only know that because we said happy birthday to him a while back. So
right. But so the likelihood of getting these trips is getting fewer and fewer and fewer. So we're trying to make something special. And then, we understand that, some people just forget plans. But the real thing was that he just never apologized. That hurt. That hurt both me and Joel. So we're getting there. Joel and I are just drinking beer and drinking wine. Just like, fuck it. Let's just have fun. Let's just be brothers. We've never done this to two of us. Just the two of us together hanging out. Which is weird. It's like, I had to reach almost 28 years old for us to like bond as adults. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I'm outside. I'm having a cigarette. And there's this donkey and a mule that belong to someone else, but they just walk together like they're just best buddies, and they just roam the properties, the neighboring properties, and just walk up the trails and shit. So I've seen them come on our property many times. They don't bother us. We don't bother them. They're just, hey, you guys got some grass we can chew? So the donkey is walking up on the trail, and I'm just sitting having a cigarette. I'm just watching this donkey, just old donkey, walk up. My brother comes out and he sees the donkey and like, oh my God, where did you come from? And I'm like, oh yeah, dude, this donkey comes around all the fucking time. Joel is just enamored with this donkey. We had bought a bunch of loaves of bread to make sandwiches, and they were awful. So we're like, here, donkey, have some loaves of bread. Throwing like slices of it at it, and it's eating the bread. And we're making jokes like, I hope it's not fucking gluten-free, donkey. Like, I hope it's okay with bread and shit. And as we're talking to this donkey, I hear a crunch of gravel in the driveway. I'm like, what the fuck? And I look, hoping it's Dad. It's a pickup truck. I'm like, who the fuck is in my driveway? We're in the middle of nowhere. We're not getting mail. We're not getting house calls. There's no fucking Jehovah's Witnesses bothering us. Like, who the fuck is here? And it's the neighbor. But before we knew that, she started backing out. And I'm like, oh, someone came on the property and got caught. They didn't expect us here. But then she rolled out the window and like, hi, I'm your neighbor. I'm here to feed your cat. I guess you're here. I'm like, oh, thank you. So Joel goes over, starts talking to the neighbor. Donkey comes up behind him. And so Joel is just in between this truck and this donkey, not aware there's an 8-foot fucking donkey or whatever the fuck next to him. And the donkey just starts like trying to eat things out of his hand, and Joel's like, oh, here you go, donkey. The neighbor is like, oh, that's Reggae. He's like, Reggae? This donkey's name is Reggae? Oh my God, I fucking love reggae music. That means I love you too. So Joel just discovered his fucking spirit animal.
You know I'm going to have to play some Bob Marley under that part of the story now, right? Like, I got to...
Dude, on the drive there, Joel played nothing but reggae, which, like... it's not really my music, and Joel's driving, so he gets to pick. But then on the drive back, he played nothing but Grateful Dead. So I never want to hear reggae or Grateful Dead for like
yeah.
So that happens. Donkey kind of fucks off. Joel starts cooking, and we're cooking and we're eating and we're just drinking. We're like saying fuck it. Neither of us got drunk, but we got a little loopy, you know.
Sure.
And we're sitting down, and we just finished dinner, and there's a cat up there. A black cat named Cleo, and that cat's old as shit, and she's the remainder. The remaining cats. We had 3, and then just one by one, they just sort of died. And Cleo is all that's left. Cleo was all over me, just desperate for affection and attention, because she's alone a lot of the time. And when there is someone up there, there's also 2 big German shepherds, so she's never like comfortable enough to. She's like, oh my God, people, fuck, give me some attention. So Joel and I are eating dinner, and we're talking about Dad. We're kind of like, it really sucks that he didn't come up. And so the mood is sort of shifting down and being a little bit like, whatever, fuck, it's oh well, it sucks. And then all of a sudden we hear, ding, 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 ding. And we're like, what the fuck? We heard like low keys of a piano. It just all of a sudden, Joel and I looked at each other like, what the fuck? When did this house become haunted?
Do you guys have a piano there?
Yeah, we had a keyboard that we completely fucking forgot about because no one's like, oh yeah, keyboard. And the fucking cat is walking across the keyboard and scared the shit out of us.
Yeah.
And we turn, we're just like, oh my God, there's a black cat on a piano. What the fuck? It just scared the shit out of us, and we just burst out laughing, just realized how stupid we were. Because we're in the middle of nowhere in the country, and all of a sudden you never expect.
You're right, absolutely.
So it was a good time. And then Joel told me so many fucking stories that like I don't think I could actually say on the air, but I would love to give him the chance to come on. And I when he told me this story, I'm like, Joel, if you ever come on, you've got to tell this fucked up story with slight modifications. Like you got to, like, if you're comfortable saying it, we're comfortable airing it, but you've got to tell this fucking story. And Joel's got some of the best stories you've never heard.
I'd like to pick his brain about business too, because I'm very business oriented and thinking.
Of course, so. Yeah, I'd love to get him on, man, and I'd love to get Tony Bonds on. I'd love to give Alex on. There's a lot of interesting family members and friends. I'm like, fuck, you have the story, only you should tell it.
As far as your family goes, there's 3 like white whales for me. Right, one of which I think is going to be easy. The other 2 not so much. Right, so I'll start with the easy one, and that's Maxwell. I want Maxwell to come on. I think he seems
really.
Yeah, I think he seems like he'd be a fun dude to talk to. He took you to Babylon. He took you to the Q&A. I think it'd be fun to talk to him for a little bit. So that's one of them, and that's not really a white whale because I think he would probably, based on what you've told me about him, I think he'll jump on it. But that's neither here nor there. Your dad's the other one, because we tried for the St. Patrick's Day one, and it fell through for reasons that are not negative. They just did. And then the biggest one is Michael.
Yeah.
That's the big one.
Michael's opinion about it is like, he just doesn't know what to say. And I'm like,
yeah,
we theorize and talk like movies all the time.
No, let's be real. We just talk shit for like 2 hours, and sometimes it sounds intelligent, and sometimes it's just talking shit. So
yeah,
I mean, but that's what's fun about it. That's what I hope people enjoy about the show. It's you and I sitting around talking. Look, I will tell people right now, you and I are friends. We don't just talk for the show. We talk, occasionally throughout the week. And when we talk, it sounds like a PodAskew episode, except the only difference is there are some subjects we won't discuss because they're too personal in nature, and we're pretty open with our fans. We're not but there are just some things that would maybe embarrass other people that we don't want to do that to those people, and we talk about those things. But outside of that, like, this is what we do.
I mean, I've said more or less that same argument to Michael more than a dozen times.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to force his hand. If he doesn't want to do it, we're not
I'm going to try and force his hand. I've been trying to get him on I've been trying to get him on a Rico's rant. So, and that's just never happened.
Well, some people are less comfortable with the visual aspect. At least with this, it's only his voice. But,
Well, ultimately, I think the biggest problem is Michael's got a crazy schedule where he works.
Yeah.
In the evenings, and he works on the weekends. And the only day that he's available is like a Tuesday.
Which is difficult for me.
And you work.
Yeah. So, the other thing that are you done with? I'm not trying to rush you, but are you done with your story? Because I want to get onto the subject of the night so we can get rolling.
Yeah, I think that's basically the story. I don't. There was one more little funny thing was that every time the phone rang, we answered it as Ron's Wolf Den.
That's funny. That is funny.
And it just, every person who was calling for Ron or for us just cracked the fuck up. They're like, who is this? They're like,
now, you see,
this is Rico.
That sucks because and I'll share with the fans, on your way up to the land that day, I called you about something that we needed to discuss for the show that isn't worth discussing right now because it's not entertaining to anybody but us. But we had some business to discuss, and you sent me the number to the land just, in case I desperately needed to get a hold of you or, God forbid something ever happened to anybody and you needed to be aware of it. I almost wish I had called now because I would like to have gotten that response. That
you should have.
Yeah.
Hey, CJ, do you like comic books?
Who doesn't?
Well, we can now whore ourselves out for this comic book.
Better than a star whore.
Can't we be both?
Oh, man, you're always a whore.
Well, if I'm a whore, at least I'm a whore for this comic.
From Outlaws Comics. That's Outlaws with a Z.
Outlaws comic, Kane, is now available at www.outlawscomics.com/titles. Order your copy and email a screenshot of your receipt at sales@outlawscomics.com. Remember, that's with a Z, in order for them to send you your issue.
Anyway, speaking of being out in the land and on the land,
Yeah.
I think that's a nice transition to what we're going to talk about tonight.
The Land Before Time?
Well, that's maybe a better movie.
Oh, no, it's not.
Well, okay, not better. I do like The Land Before Time. That's got a thing from my childhood, I think. But yeah.
Yup.
But the same concept in that the Jurassic Park World series, and I say it that way because some people will view it as two separate series. I think it's 5 movies, so it kind of depends on how you want to look at it. To me, it's 5 movies.
Saga.
Yeah, it's a saga. I got to be honest with you. I've determined, and we'll get into the specifics, but the 2s in the series all suck. So
the 2s?
Yeah, so Jurassic Park 2, Jurassic World 2, also known as The Lost World and The Fallen Kingdom.
Right.
Suck. I thought they were terrible, honestly. The third one, not so much. I mean, the third one for the Jurassic Park 3 is okay, but yeah.
If I rank it, it's 1 for...
Well, one world, right? So one world.
One, well, yes, it's 4. I mean, if we're
okay.
so
yeah,
1,
sure.
4, 2, 3, 5.
I'd go 1, 4, 3, 2, 5, probably.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna flip it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I almost would go with that because, I don't know. There's something about seeing a fucking T-Rex in San Diego that's still pretty good.
See, okay, and that's my problem. Like, all right, so here's what I'll say. I am going to use, coming off Cinema Wars, the Rian Johnson argument, in that it looks beautiful. That shot of the T-Rex in San Diego, especially when you're seeing it like looking out into the bay or whatever, or the ocean, is a pretty cool fucking shot. You know, like visually speaking, it's gorgeous to look at, but from a story perspective, every time they come off the island, I think it's dumb. I think that's really, you lose me. Like,
is it just running in the jungle more claustrophobic than a city? Is that what it is for you?
No, because
it's them being on the island is just constant imminent danger.
It's not just that, but it's more plausible to me. Like the T-Rex running around downtown San Diego is just so fucking far-fetched. You know what I mean?
Spielberg's version of Godzilla is really what it is.
No, I get it, and it is Spielberg, but let's we give a lot of love to the big names in directing, like so your Lucas's, your Spielbergs, and rightfully, and Scorsese, all those guys, and rightfully so, because most of the stuff they make is amazing, but that doesn't mean that all of them are great. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a huge fan of American Graffiti, and I know there's people that love that, but I mean, like, that's not Lucas's best film by a long shot.
It was boring. It put me to sleep personally.
Yeah, so like. And Spielberg's got some clunkers. He's got some amazing things in like Schindler's List and E.T.
To be fair, his clunkers are very few. You know what I mean?
No, they are, but like AI is kind of a clunker. I'm not a big fan of AI.
Yeah. Yeah.
And honestly, we're not talking about AI tonight, so maybe if you want to get into a longer discussion, maybe we'll do it on another episode. But like, if he had just stuck to keeping it Kubrick's version, I think it would have been all right, but he came in and kind of Spielberged it, and it was originally a Stanley Kubrick film, so I think that's kind of where it falls apart for me. But that aside, you're right, he doesn't have a lot of clunkers, but he's got them, and every director, to be fair, is going to have a clunker. Like, nobody's going to hit a home run every fucking time. It just doesn't work that way.
But to be fair, some like what is considered a clunker or a bomb or a failure, like perfect example is Hook. Hook did not perform great.
Right.
A lot of people did not give it critical acclaim. But like that was probably one of my all-time. That's what I'm saying. It's like one man's clunker is another kid's treasure.
Well, right, and so that's kind of the point I was getting at. So I appreciate you saying that. Is like when I'm saying clunker, I'm not talking financially. I know those movies all made just all the monies, but like it doesn't mean that they're always that good. And they did decline. If I recall, 3 didn't do very well financially. Like I think it still made money. Like I don't think it lost, but it didn't.
But he didn't direct. But he didn't direct 3.
No, but he was involved. He's definitely the executive producer because I remember it coming up.
He's involved in all of them, as far as I know.
I didn't see his name on 4. I'm not saying he's not involved. I just didn't see it. Is he involved in World? Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to argue that because I'm not saying I don't know enough to be sure. So we could also use the Star Wars argument for these because, and not just Rian Johnson, I mean Star Wars in general, in that the argument has been said about The Force Awakens was basically redoing A New Hope, right? It was just kind of like doing The New Hope a second time with these newer characters or whatever. And I felt like Jurassic World was very similar to that as to let's just kind of redo Jurassic Park. The difference, though, to be fair, is it was very much aware of that and acknowledged that within the story itself, that it was kind of rebooting what Jurassic Park was originally. So, whereas The Force Awakens was just like, there
are some differences, though. Like, for instance, Jurassic World, the park has been open for years.
In which one?
In Jurassic World.
Yes. Okay, no, I thought you said Jurassic Park, it was open for years. I was like, no. But no, you're right. In World, it had been open for a couple years. Yeah.
And to the point where, like, people are bored of dinosaurs.
Well, here's the thing, though. So, and I think you're more versed in this series than I am, so hopefully you can clarify this so without we don't have to...
I read the first 2 books, so I know.
Yeah, no, but this is more a question about World, though. Okay. But you might still be able to help clarify it. First off, just in general, I want to make sure I'm saying this right. The original island is Isla Nublar, correct? Right? Is that, am I right?
It's Nublar. Nublar.
Nublar. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. But I want to know, because there's also an Isa, like Rona or something. Sorna. And then there's another one. There's a third one from the third movie.
No, there's not. It's just the 2.
I'm pretty sure it was 3 islands.
It's 2.
Okay. Well, anyway, the point being is that there's multiple islands involved.
There's Site A and Site B.
And I thought they ended up saying there was a third site.
I'll tell you what it is. Jurassic Park and Jurassic World are Site A.
Right. So that was okay.
But
so
Site B is Lost World and Jurassic Park 3.
Oh, they're both on Site B. See, to me, it made it sound like it was a third island. Okay, that's fine. Fair enough. My point, though, you brought it up when you said that Park and World are Site A. Okay, let's just do Site A and Site B. It's easier to say. Right. At the end of 2, I want to say, they had declared both islands like off limits, like quarantined essentially. Because if in 3 and spoilers, people, like these movies have all been out long enough at this point. I'm sorry, I love you guys. You're all our fans. We love you, but come on. So yeah, they quarantined in the beginning. It's so much so that in the beginning of 3, they have to sneak onto the island to find the kid that gets lost.
Yeah, it even said like where it says the island, and then it said like off limits or something, or restricted.
So with that all being off limits, how did they go back to rebuild this park for Jurassic World? A, how did they go back, and B, how did the dinosaurs not fuck them up the whole time they were doing this reconstruction?
The Maserati, the Indian dude who owned Jurassic World. Because I think still InGen, which is the genetics company, the bad company, InGen, they still had the rights, as far as I know. And then Maserati Corporation took over for the Hammond Corporation or whatever.
Right, InGen. No, InGen was... yeah.
And then they just said, okay, we will rebuild it. And they don't need to show it, but like I assume they just went down, tranked all these dinos, loaded them up on forklifts, put them in cages. I mean, they showed how they do that before.
It just seemed like that they were so, by that point, like, well, and maybe you know this, how much time takes place between, say, Jurassic Park and Jurassic World? Is it real time?
It's modern.
So real time.
It's 2015,
years.
Yeah.
So, okay, so Jurassic Park comes out in 93, I want to say.
Yeah.
So 22 years difference.
Yeah.
Figure conservatively it takes 5 years to rebuild all of that. Let's just say, I'm nitpicking on numbers, so I'm not going to.
Right. Yeah. So it'd be
17 years. So it'd be 17 years later, because if it's 22 when they're in stream, So.
Right. Well, let's just jump it from Jurassic Park 3. Jurassic Park 3 came out in 2001.
Okay, so even then you're talking about 14 years, right?
Right. 14. So that's still, they have time for companies to buy out other companies.
Well, not just that, but you have enough, to the same point, you have enough time for the dinosaurs to run rampant on that island to the point that controlling them might be impossible. And that's kind of where one of my problems comes. Like, how were they able to, like, get it all back together without getting... Because... anytime anyone seems to step foot on that island after Jurassic Park, after the first one, it's just a mad dash to not get eaten.
Yeah.
So how did they...
They brought in a fucking army.
Right, but how... Oh, I get... Okay. I mean...
I don't know. I mean, maybe there was a 3,000 Chris Pratts, and they just somehow trained all the dinosaurs to calm the fuck down.
But you see my point, right?
I see your point. I have a bigger problem with how, like... episode Jurassic Park 3. Oh yeah, that's kind of accurate. Jurassic Park episode 3 ends with fucking pterodons flying across, like migrating to fucking whatever the fuck.
I'm with you.
Number one, you got to wrangle those fuckers.
No, they're gone. If the timeline we just laid out is accurate,
they're not gone. People would find those things, be like, "Oh, look at that giant ass dinosaur flying with all his swans."
Wait a minute. That's my point, though. They're not limited. Unlike the T-Rex or like the Bronchiosaurus or some of these land-driven animals, or like raptors for that matter, they're not limited. They could be in fucking North America by now. You know what I mean? Like, we just don't know. They're not limited to those two animals.
I guarantee that if a pterodon or a pterodactyl or whatever the fuck they're called flew to America, someone shot it down.
Well, probably, but you get the point I'm trying to say. Is like that, the big thing at the end of the end of Jurassic World 2, at the end of Fallen Kingdom, is it's now Jurassic World because they've been released enough to just spread. There's that scene of them driving down what looks like the Pacific Coast Highway, which I'm not sure that it is, but with the pterodactyls flying off in the distance. That's really should be the end scene from 3. Or it's a mirror of that same, not a mirror, but a replica of.
I'm with you, man. I will admit, when Fallen Kingdom ended, I'm like, this is when it gets really fucking interesting. To see a raptor like overlooking like a Vegas. It looked like Vegas or something.
I thought it was like Santa Monica. Like, I'm not even kidding.
Or wherever the fuck it is just overlooking these suburbs. And I'm like, that's when it gets fucking interesting. Or to see the giant Mosasaurus, the giant fucking, the sea dinosaur thing. That's
I forget its name, but yeah.
And like, because they showed that in the trailer pretty heavily.
Yep.
Where it's like this guy's surfing and also just see this giant, like, okay, that's what makes it more interesting. Let's see fucking dinosaurs interact in LA or Philly or Oakland. I mean, dude, if I saw raptors in Oakland, I would fucking be like, all right, I'm out. I'm just fucking done.
Well, and that's kind of the thing, though. Like, the way they set the end of that movie up is it almost made it sound like there's nowhere you can go where you're not going to see something.
That's the point. That's the whole point, is life finds a way.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but he was shoehorned into that movie, by the way. Like, there was no need for him.
I'm glad it was just a glorified cameo, but, like, it was not the best
love Jeff Goldblum, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm a fan of his, but, like, he was fucking terrible in all of them. To be honest with you, like, and he was typical Goldblum. Like, I hate to say it, like, there are certain actors, and I'm not trying to go off on a whole tangent here, but there are certain actors that have just like a type attached to them. Walken, Goldblum, you know, like, these guys just have like a way of delivery that have become synonymous with them. You know,
you know the comedian Frank Caliendo.
Oh yeah, love Caliendo. Yeah,
he does this great impression of Jeff Goldblum, where he says the best thing to do about a Goldblum impression is to start talking about one thing and then do a complete 180. Like, I love chili dog. I love hot dogs. Hot dogs are great. Chili dogs are great. Mustard relish and ketchup is good. And wait a minute, I'm a vegetarian. But,
right.
And that's what he does is. But look, the only reason why Ian Malcolm, the character, exists in Jurassic Park is because that is Michael Crichton, the author of Jurassic Park. One was like 7 feet tall, no bullshit. Was
really? Wow,
stealth, dude, like 6'9" or something ridiculous.
I'm looking it up. And
he has since passed away. Like,
yes,
he died
early. He was young. If I recall.
He was very young. And his name is Michael Crichton.
Yes,
I
knew that.
Crichton, which I was that. Like,
yeah.
And he always said it rhymes with frightened, which is perfect.
56.
Yeah, dude, that's
no.
How
I'm
tall?
Sorry, 66. 66.
Even still, that's pretty fucking young.
Yeah.
How tall was he?
6'9".
All right, so yeah, 6'9".
Yeah.
And died at 66. Like, and I think I remember before Jurassic World, like, was actually in severe development. When he passed away, there were discussions that maybe we shouldn't continue because that was sort of like, well, he just died. Should we even continue this legacy?
Well, I don't know when they started talking about it, but it came out 7 years after he died, so I don't know.
They were trying to make one around circa 2007. Like, they were.
Okay.
I had heard like rumors that Keira Knightley was going to be in it and maybe play the daughter of Alan Grant or something, which is weird because he didn't have any kids or something.
Well, he could have. Yeah, I also am not so sure. I like the Laura Dern leaving him and going off and having a family, like, because it seemed like by the end of one he had warmed up to the idea of having kids and stuff. So maybe I missed something, but.
Well, there's a whole lot of shit because in the books, in the first two books, which are the only books, the character of Alan Grant is radically different. Not radically, but like enough where it's like in the movie, he hates kids and then warms up to the kids, right?
Right.
In the book, he loves kids and like he's all about like, you know, he's very interested in Tim and Lex and their point of views and what they're blah blah blah.
What?
I don't know. You gave me a look.
Oh, no, it wasn't you. I was reading about Michael Crichton and how cancer. Cancer's what took him.
That sucks.
It's such a fucking bitch, that thing, cancer.
Yeah, you big C cocksucker. So he likes the kids, and also the kids were flipped. Like, in the book, Tim is older.
Okay.
And is also a computer geek. And really fascinated by dinosaurs. And in this one,
yeah.
Lex is younger and really only into sports. And it's just kind of a bratty little, 10-year-old girl.
So it's still a boy-girl. It's just the age and thing flipped. Okay.
And the reason why is because the kid who played Tim auditioned for Hook. And ultimately he was deemed too young. But Spielberg said, I guarantee I'm going to put you in a fucking movie. And then he put him in Jurassic Park.
Sure.
And that's the kid who is also in Bohemian Rhapsody.
The kid
he played the bassist.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Awesome. You know what? Yeah. I think you told me that when we talked about Bohemian, but I forgot, to be honest with you.
And it doesn't look the same. Like, his nose is he's just bigger. And I'm like, whoa, holy shit.
He looks like the dude from Queen. Like, I don't want to get into that whole discussion.
They all did. They all fucking looked like who they were supposed to be playing.
It was awesome. Anyway, go ahead.
So yeah, there are some liberties, and I think the relationship between Grant and Sattler is that she already has a boyfriend in the book, and they just sort of made them a couple, but then just sort of. I think Jurassic Park 3 was. They didn't want. I don't think Laura Dern wanted to be on the island or something, and run from dinosaurs. She's like, I just got a cameo, but the hell was that? I don't think Laura Dern wanted to run away from dinosaurs anymore. I think she. I don't know. I don't know why they kind of limited her romance with Grant. I think maybe it was.
I
something
thought they were married. Honestly, like. Maybe I misunderstood, but like when I saw her married to somebody else in 3, I was like, wait a minute. I thought they were married. I knew they were together, so maybe it wasn't clear they weren't married, but I knew they were together because Goldblum tries to weasel his way in, and he ends up having that conversation with him in the truck when they're waiting for the power to come back on. You know.
I think what it was trying to show was that the experience of Jurassic Park traumatized them both so much that they even couldn't like keep a relationship together.
Yeah.
But ultimately the best part is that they were still very close friends. Like out of all the people he called her.
Yeah. And then I think it was her husband's political power that ended up sending like the cavalry to get them essentially.
Right.
So
but back to Goldblum, isn't it weird that Goldblum is considered, especially in Jurassic Park, a sex symbol?
Yeah, there's right around the time I think Fallen Kingdom came out, there was a meme and thing going around of him on like this like couch type thing.
He's on the back of the truck. He's on the back of the truck and his shirt is open and he's just like the Goldblum.
Yeah, but they took that pose and I think they put it on a couch, like a love seat type of thing, just for the statue and this meme.
Right.
Like, yeah. So. And
it's weird because, like, Goldblum's a very good-looking guy, but like he does have that bizarre way of talking. Like it's weird and like, oh, there's running and there's screaming and what the fuck, dude? Like you sound like you are doing an impression of Christopher Walken but sped up.
Yeah, I'd actually like to see a debate between Walken and Goldblum, but to be fair, I don't want it to be Walken and Goldblum. I want it to be like Frank Caliendo and Kevin Pollak. You know, like
right. That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be so great. Wow, Oda. Oh, no. Let me tell you about this. It would just be a whole audience just be like, get on with it.
Yeah. Right.
Hurry up. Make your fucking point. Order in the fucking court. There's something about order.
I want to make clear, though, to anyone listening that, like, we're not saying we don't like Jeff Goldblum. Like, I do like him. And actually, in the midst of catching up on the Jurassic Park movies, just because I needed, to cleanse the palate, ironically enough, I watched Independence Day. Because that happened to be on.
Must go faster.
Must
go faster.
Yeah. And I love him in that movie. Like, I think he's great in that movie, and I think he fits perfectly, and I think his character fits the story of the movie. Like, I don't want to get into an Independence Day discussion. Let's save that, because I actually have an idea for that. So let's not, get too deep into Independence Day. But I like, I do like him as an actor, and I know you're not the biggest Ragnarok fan, but I think his role as the Supreme Being? What was the title of the characters?
He's the son of a bitch.
Anyway, the head of the trash planet world that he was on, like that, he did that role perfectly. I think he was perfect for that role. I really do.
Well, in Independence Day, he's basically more or less playing the same character in the first Jurassic Park, because Jurassic Park 1 and 2, Malcolm is very different.
Oh, very differently. Very different. Yeah, I agree. He's more tolerable in 2 and in Fallen Kingdom than he is in 1.
There are these, for all the Jurassic Park movies, there's 2 actors that I feel like they just put them in to give the trailer lines.
It's
Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
It's Chris Pratt and Jeff Goldblum. Because Jeff Goldblum is always saying the witty shit, and Chris Pratt's always saying the witty shit. Like, Jeff Goldblum is saying, mommy's very angry, or hang on, this could be bad, or whatever the fuck you see, and then Chris Pratt's like, you just went and went on create a dinosaur, probably not a good idea, or whatever the fuck you say.
Yeah, I can at least feel like I can explain his transformation from 1 to 2, in that I feel like the experience on the island maybe is what, humbled him a little bit, because he was like a cocky fuck in the first one, and in the second one, he's a little more down to earth. I don't remember him having how much time is supposed to have taken place between 1 and 2? Do you know offhand?
4 years.
Okay. I couldn't remember. And I only asked because, I thought he was, single bachelor guy in the first one. And in the second one, he's got what looks to be like a 12-year-old daughter.
Well, in the movie, he says, "Oh yeah, I got kids. I got 3 kids."
Does he? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Alan Grant says, "Do you like kids?" Like, "Oh yeah, I love kids. I have 3 of them, three children, and just say yes. Fuck, don't drag it out. I love having kids. I have 3 of them, and oh wait a minute, they don't love me. Like, that's what I'm expecting." Now, can I, without sounding awful, can I admit that when I saw Lost World Jurassic Park as a little kid, I was very confused why he had a black daughter?
Well, I mean, how old were you?
6?
No, that's
7?
not. No, that's not. I could see at 6 why that would be confusing. Yeah.
But it was also such a bizarre choice. But even like Vince Vaughn, for the record, it is weird to say that Vince Vaughn is in a Jurassic Park movie. Yeah, no, there's a couple of names that are weird to say they're in Jurassic Park movies. Do you want to go through that list real quick? Because I can do it pretty quick off the top of my head here. Go for it. Sam Jackson's a weird name to see in a Jurassic Park film. Yeah. Although I liked his character, and for once to see that the black guy was not the first one to die in a horror film, I kind of think that's a positive. He still died. But he wasn't the first one. Usually they're the first one to go. I mean, so hey, more power to him for that. But yeah, I think he was the first one killed by a raptor. All right, you're splitting hairs now. All right, but him, Vincent D'Onofrio was another one. That's not a random one, though. I mean, would you expect Vincent D'Onofrio to be in a Jurassic Park movie? I would expect him to be the role that he played. Oh 100%. Yeah, no, it was good casting. If he played a computer techie or something, or like the Chris Pratt role, I'd be like, that's weird. But him being the government asshole, I'm like, yes. Okay, that's fair. I gotta give you that. I'm trying to think of. I had another one and now I lost it. Oh, William H. Macy, another one. That's a weird one. That is a really weird one. Téa Leoni, if I'm saying that right, Téa Leoni. Téa Leoni, yeah. That's another one. To be fair, no disrespect to Téa Leoni, like, not everybody's like. What other? Can you name 3 movies with Téa Leoni? I can name one besides this. And I think we're probably thinking of the same one. What is it? Who are you going? Spanglish. No, then we're not thinking. Really? Of the one. Yeah. What are you thinking of? Bad Boys. She's in the first Bad Boys. She's the main one. Oh shit! You're right. I forgot about that fucking. Oh, she was good in that. She was all right. Actually, I really don't like, and I don't want to get into another spin-off here, but I don't like the first Bad Boys. I love the second one. I need to rewatch them. But, anyways, look, I'll throw one better. Please. Michael Jeter. I don't even know who that is. He's Mr. fucking Noodle with Elmo. Yeah, he's in Jurassic Park 3. He's the guy, Udesky. The guy with the rifle, and like, if we get separated, I'm going with you guys. Like that. That's Mr. Noodle. Okay, that you know where I know that guy from? Green Mile. No, I've never seen the Green Mile. Remember we talked about that? Patch Adams. Nope, never saw that either. All right, what random fucking movie? Sister Act 2, Back in the Habit. He plays one of the priests. Go fuck yourself. What? You are missing so much great Michael Jeter movies, dude. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, he's dead. Is he? Yeah, he died of AIDS. Oh, damn. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a finite amount of Michael Jeter roles you got to watch.
Well, that's like that. I mean, I'm not trying to get way off, but that's like Fredo from The Godfather. I think he's in like 4 films.
John Cazale, yeah.
He's like 4 films, and then he died of like cancer or something, if I recall.
He had bone cancer, I think.
Yeah, but and in the 70s, so like there was nothing. It was just yeah. Anyway,
yeah, Dog Day Afternoon, Godfathers 1 and 2, and then
something else.
Deer Hunter.
Okay, yeah, I mean, like, I knew he didn't have a huge career in terms of number of films, but the ones he were in were, like, heavy hitters, so...
Oh, he's fantastic in Dog Day Afternoon, dude.
I've never seen that either, so...
You really need to see it.
I have a feeling if you ever came to visit, or I came to visit you, our entire trip would be just, like, one gigantic movie marathon of, okay, you need to see this, you need to see this.
No. What it would be is you and me discussing, trying to watch a movie that'd be like, wait, you haven't seen this?
Yeah,
and then just be the argument of like, you haven't seen The Green Mile? Fuck!
Like, you would go to we'd end up going to the video room and you would just take like a whole shelf home with you. Like, we're just watching all these.
I would have them with me. I probably own most of the movies. I'm like, you haven't seen that? Motherfuck.
It was just meant for comedic purposes. So... Going back to your point about Vince Vaughn, though, like it is weird to say he's in a Jurassic Park movie, and for me, generally speaking, anytime I've seen Vince Vaughn in anything that wasn't a comedy, I haven't generally been impressed, except for this movie. Like, I thought he actually did a pretty good job in a non-comedic role.
And even then, he's still kind of the snarky dude.
Snarky, yes, but he's not like... He's not the guy from Dodgeball. He's not the guy from Dodgeball. He's not, you know, he the closest
he's
equivalent
not Swingers.
He's close to that. Yeah. He's close to
that. He's kind of like...
He's as notched down from that character. Like, he's like, yeah.
And that's ultimately what won in the role, was Spielberg saw him in Swingers like, oh, I'm going to put this kind of movie.
Well, there you go. Which is kind of the point of Swingers. That's why they made that movie, because they weren't getting roles. So
I think, if I remember the story correctly, Vince Vaughn is in Lost World because when they made Swingers, they wanted to do a Jaws reference, and they sent the movie to Spielberg to get his approval for, like, this is where we want to put the Jaws reference. And Spielberg was like, no, I don't give you permission, but I like Vince Vaughn. I'm going to put him in a movie.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's ultimately what happened. Meanwhile, fucking Jon Favreau, nothing.
Well, I mean, he's gone on to have his own success, you know, but not from from Spielberg. But yeah, I mean, like, he's a director in his own right. Like, what has Vince Vaughn directed comparatively to?
I mean,
I don't think he's. Yeah, that's my point. So
Traffic, I think, in the movie.
So, yeah,
who else?
It just seemed odd, though. What?
What's her face? Julianne Moore.
Yeah, another one. Like,
you get these weird, like, oh my god, they were in that. Like,
right? Yeah.
Bryce Dallas Howard.
Well, but she at least is in 2 of them. You know what I mean? Like, these ones we're talking about are these one-offs. Like, you don't. You know what I mean? Like, they don't show up again. They don't even get referenced again, I don't think.
No, you're right.
Like, they really
dude, we're missing the big one, Newman.
Yeah, I mean, first off, I'm not a Seinfeld fan. I think we've talked about that.
I'm not either.
So the fact that he's
what's his name? Wayne Knight.
Yeah, I know him more from Space Jam than I do from Seinfeld.
Oh, that's a good pull. I forgot that.
Because he's the annoying, like, assistant to Michael Jordan in that movie.
I mean, he's also in Basic Instinct, which is how he got the role for Jurassic Park.
Okay, yeah, I've never seen that either. So
he's in Punisher Warzone.
I didn't see that. I saw the one with Thomas Jane, but I never saw Warzone.
He plays the gun supply. The guy in the Punisher show. There's that dude who does all the surveillance for him and blah blah blah.
I want to say Weasel, but that's not it, because Weasel's the guy from Deadpool.
Right, but you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly who you're talking about. I'll look it up because it's going to bother me.
So Wayne Knight plays that role in Warzone.
See, that bothers me only because no. Just no.
Anyways, to be fair, Sam Neill was a weird choice to play Alan Grant. I mean, he's one of my favorite parts and reasons for Jurassic Park, and Jurassic Park. He really is one of the better reasons for watching Jurassic Park 3.
Oh yeah, without question, sure.
I mean, the obvious first choice for Alan Grant was actually Harrison Ford.
Yeah, but didn't you tell me Spielberg tries to shy away from using the same people over and over and over again? That's why he didn't want
George Lucas did.
Oh, okay, Lucas did.
Spielberg loves using the same people.
You're right. I got my people confused.
Especially in little clumps. He'll make like 3 movies with the same people and then move on.
Right. I got my people confused.
What's his fuck? The guy who played the creator in Ready Player One, Mark Rylance, the guy who played the creator of the game.
Oh yeah.
He was in 3 consecutive Spielberg movies, like Bridge of Spies, not RBG, the BFG, and then Ready Player One. So he's
RBG's a documentary about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I'd be impressed if he was in that one, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he played Ruth Bader Ginsburg so well, like it was amazing.
That character from Punisher, by the way, is Micro. That's the character.
Micro.
Yeah.
I kept thinking Recon or something, but no.
No, you were. Right. Yeah, I was stuck between Weasel and Overwatch because of Arrow.
And we were way off. We were thinking too big. We had to go small. We had to go micro.
You brought up Bryce Dallas Howard. I think that's how you say it. I moved off the screen, but you brought her up.
By the way, do you know why her middle name is Dallas?
No.
That's where she was conceived.
Okay, well, there you go. More power to her.
So every time she says her name, or every time she hears her name, that she's reminded that that's where her parents fucked to have her.
See, I would have just dropped that then when I went famous. Because you know how like actors will change their name or drop parts of their name or whatever? That's what she should have done.
But admittedly, Bryce Dallas Howard sounds better than just Bryce Howard.
No, that's true. It's got a flow to it. Now, my biggest problem with her is nothing to do with her. So she had probably zero control over this.
She's actually really good in the movie. Like she does a great job.
No, she does. Absolutely. In both of them, to be fair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She is probably the strength of the second one, to be honest with you, of the 2 Jurassic Worlds. I'd say she's probably...
I would 100% agree.
But in the first one, having her running around in high heels the whole fucking movie, bullshit. I'm not even a woman, and I know that's bullshit. And I know women I've talked to were like, that would have never happened. She would have ripped those things off or broke the heels off and just ran in them as like flats. So...
Now, listen, I'm treading on weird ground here because, like, I tweeted at Colin Trevorrow responded. And in his own mind, he said, more or less, trying to do it verbatim, he said, because I said, I work at the video room that you worked at. He said, if it's the video room that I remember, then you all must have hated Jurassic World. And then I had to double back and say, I love Jurassic World. But, that being said, having Bryce Dallas Howard outrun a T-Rex in heels is some fucking I love how we're like, oh, dinosaurs on screen. Made a fucking messed up dinosaur. Dinosaurs flying. Dinosaurs. Believable? Fucking outrunning those dinosaurs in high heels? Absolute dog shit. Dino shit. That is one giant piece of shit. That's what that is. And I don't know if it's Colin. I mean, look, I've also heard, because there is this, women do get preyed on. They are, like, assaulted a lot. Men and women. Mostly women. I have read that there are women who like heels and dress in heels who have actually trained themselves to be able to sprint in heels in case they get attacked. It is a thing. But it's not something that character would do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So
you could argue it's the T-Rex in Jurassic World is the same T-Rex in the very first movie. That has been established. That is the first T-Rex. So, which means it's older. It's 22 years older. It may have just slowed down a little bit. But this is also the T-Rex that chased after Jeff Goldblum and what's his fuck in the Jeep. It was like clocking, 45 miles an hour?
Yeah.
And then fucking Ron Howard's Texas, child outran the cocksucker. I don't know. I'm sorry. That was the only part. But that part led to the best part of that fucking movie. So I kind of am like, oh, fuck this. But, yeah! T-Rex, get that Indominus son of a bitch.
Well, yeah. Hey, listen, I pulled your Twitter up. Do you want me to read you the exact quote from the conversation between you and Colin? Or
yeah, I mean, you don't have to go through the whole other fucking extra bullshit I said.
No. Because you mentioned Jurassic World in that his brother came in with the story that you've told, where his brother came in and you didn't believe that it was his brother, blah 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 blah. And then in
very small detail. Yeah, I didn't go into detail, but yeah.
No, but you mentioned it. And he said to you, if there isn't at least one employee who hates Jurassic World with a passion, it's not the video room that I remember. So
right.
So that's what it was. Just to give him. To
be fair, there's a reason why Jurassic World is number 2 and not number 1 on my list.
Well, yeah. Because here's the thing. And so Deb watched these off and on with me as I was going back through them. She'd pop in the room, hang out for a little bit, leave, go do something else, come back, whatever. And she said to me, the one thing that I do have to agree 100% on was that, especially for Jurassic Park being, 25 years old at this point, I think, something to that effect, yep. 26 years old, the CGI holds up. It does not look like a 25-year-old CGI. It holds up really, really well. Yeah. So, that worked out well, and the T-Rex still looks good to this day.
T-Rex still looks flawless. You're absolutely right. The T-Rex in Jurassic Park 1 it holds up compared to CGI that comes out. I 100% agree. The T-Rex in the first movie, the CGI holds up compared to modern day CGI that we have. It almost looks better in a weird way.
You just beat me to it. I think the T-Rex from the first Jurassic Park and subsequently, now you know a lot of that behind the scenes stuff better than I ever will. Do you know, did they use the same model? Did they basically just pull the graphic out of the archives and throw it in? Because that dinosaur makes an appearance in Jurassic World. So did they just pull it out of the archive and throw it in, or did they rebuild? Do you know?
I think, look, there's both animatronics and there's the CGI. And
well, let me tell you why I'm asking, and then if you want to, because I feel like you're going to go longer than I need you to for my question, and if you want to get into it, I'd love to hear it. But,
okay.
To me, that looked better than the Indominus Rex and the Indoraptor. It really did.
The Indominus, well, first off, from my understanding, the only animatronic that is in Jurassic World is that part where Owen and what is her?
The kids?
Claire. No.
Okay.
Chris Pratt and Dallas. I'm trying to fucking say the name. Owen and Claire they stumble upon that field of all the hadrosaurs or whatever, and they realize that the Indominus is just killing for sport and not for food.
Right. I remember that. Yeah.
And they have this kind of tearful, they kind of are just being there for this dinosaur that's slowly dying, and that's an animatronic.
Okay.
Everything else is CGI.
Really quick, just to be fair, when I was going through a recap of the movies, the only one that wasn't available to me was the first Jurassic World. So I didn't get to go back over that when I was recapping. So I'm a little less versed on specific scenes. I know the overall
one that
story.
glares out is the fucking running the heels. Yeah, I'm with you.
Well, because it's so fucking strange. Do you know what I mean? I hate to say it, but it's
I if I could compare it to let me say what scared me. Okay.
Yeah.
In the first Jurassic Park, because Jurassic Park they're all kind of horror films without being horror films. You know what I mean?
Agreed. 100%. A little too much for liking, honestly. And it's not because I don't like horror films. I just wish they would have explored the more peaceful part of it a little more, especially in the first one and in Jurassic World. Not saying you couldn't get to where you get, but I felt like it was too quick of a turn from like everything's happy to, oh shit, the sky's falling.
Well, that's the problem with Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. Those movies actually kind of just do a lot of debating of morals and
right.
Especially when Ian Malcolm is involved, he's just like, this is not okay. You're playing God. You're doing this like a little kid that found his father's gun. Blah blah blah. There's all those scenes of them debating. When I was a little kid, was boring as shit. Now as an adult, you're like, this is fucking deep. They're debating whether this should be okay. And then the other sequels, including Lost World, Jurassic Park 3, and Fallen Kingdom, are just monster movies. It's run, chase, eat. That's right. What those movies are. Right. There are those deepness. Even in Fallen Kingdom, there is their whole aspect of greed is heavily featured in that movie.
It's featured in all of them. I mean, even Alan's assistant stealing the raptor's eggs from the third one.
Greed is I actually read this argument, which is the dinosaurs are animals. All they're doing is hunting to survive and eat. They don't know where they are. They don't know what they are. All they know is that they're hungry and that looks good to eat. Then the real villains are the greedy fucking, companies. InGen is essentially the biggest villain of the franchise.
Sure.
The T-Rex is regarded as a villain, but ultimately redeems itself by saving the fucking day at the end of Jurassic Park 1 and at the end of Jurassic World. And arguably Fallen Kingdom.
Oh, no, I don't think Fallen Kingdom at all.
Well, because it eats that fucking dude at the end. It eats the other British, Weasley dude.
Well, okay. Yeah.
But originally, you know what the ending for the original Jurassic Park was supposed to be?
No.
The raptor, same location. It's in the fucking main entrance of Jurassic Park. The raptors are stalking the kids, and somehow they managed to use the skeletons of the T-Rex to just impale the raptors and crush the raptors. So they used the bones of the Rex to kill the raptors. And then Spielberg was like, I got a better idea. Let's just put the fucking T-Rex in the thing. Which is why it's such a surprise, because a dinosaur that big, stomping, they didn't hear it. They're just so involved with the raptors, and all of a sudden there's a giant other dinosaur in the room with them.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of a last-minute decision.
But then it does explain the cover of the book, because the cover of the book is the skeleton of the T-Rex.
The cover of the book, someone actually asked Michael Crichton, why did you pick a dinosaur for the cover for a dinosaur that's not in the Jurassic period? It would have been the Cretaceous period or whatever.
Well, that's just getting nitpicky, I think. But it's
but he said, I don't know, I just thought it looked cool. That's literally what Michael Crichton is like. It just looked cool.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think when you look, these aren't documentaries. You know what I mean?
No.
So.
And if you're really being factual, every single dinosaur that would be in that movie would be covered in feathers.
Well, now, at the time that Jurassic Park came out, they didn't know that, honestly.
They had theorized. No, they did, because there was a whole theory that they evolved into birds. That was Alan's whole thing.
No, because I remember reading an article right around the time Jurassic World came out, maybe by coincidence or maybe on purpose, where they talk about how the portrayals of the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park were accurate because they weren't, while they would have evolved into birds, at that point they wouldn't have had feathers yet. It was the thought process at the time of Jurassic Park. And since then, they've come to realize that they may have actually had feathers that far back. And so it's now a little off. Do you know what I mean? So,
but I'll even throw it even further. Fucking B.D. Wong, who plays
the Doctor, yeah.
By the way, he's the only actor to come from both movies, from Jurassic Park and Jurassic World.
It would have been nice to see Alan show up in one of them, even in a cameo role, just pop in. You know,
Dude, I'm still hoping they bring Sam Neill in for the third Jurassic World. I would fucking be ecstatic for that.
Okay, and real quick, and by the way, he's not the only one in both worlds. Now that I think about it.
Who?
The guy we've been talking about, fucking Goldblum. He's in... I mean, it's a cameo, but he's there.
Yeah.
He's not in... You're right. B.D. Wong has a larger role in both series, but just from appearing in both, it's also Goldblum.
You are right, and I think because I just blanked on the fact.
No, it's fine, man. Yeah.
But there's a whole part in Jurassic World where he has an argument with Mizrani, the guy who now owns Jurassic World.
Yeah.
The guy who should not have flown a fucking helicopter.
Yeah, but you know what? Like a super billionaire who thought he'd taken enough lessons and could handle it, thinking he could do it, kind of sounded realistic to me, actually. Do you know what I mean? Like, I see your problem, but I also see why that works. Do you know?
Look, there has to have been a problem, otherwise there's no story.
Right.
You have to accept stupid characters doing stupid things.
Right.
Otherwise there's no tragedy. If it's just everyone's smart and everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing, you have no story.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But there's an argument between the two of them and it's a really great scene in Jurassic World where he said, who approved you to make this Indominus Rex with all these things where it can change the teeth signatures? He said, you did. You told me bigger, scarier, cooler. You asked for more teeth. These are not dinosaurs. If you wanted dinosaurs, we'd have giant birds everywhere. You want monsters.
Yeah.
And that is really the crux of the whole franchise. It's not accuracy for accuracy's sake. It's how do we make the scariest fucking thing ever that in our own mind we know that looks like a dinosaur. A T-Rex looks like a T-Rex. Big, giant fucking lizard with fucked up arms. That's what it is.
Yeah.
A Triceratops looks like a fucking rhino with a big-ass problem. Like, we know what these dinosaurs look like, even though that's not what they would look like. So, for them to make these monsters, essentially, it's movie liberty, but it was the most. Look, just to be fair, seeing a giant raptor covered in feathers would look out of place.
Yeah, it would. Yeah,
it would look out of place, but it would also be fucking terrifying. If you, as the kids said in Jurassic Park, like that looks like a 6-foot turkey, I would run the fuck away from a 6-foot turkey, dude.
Yeah, so would I. To your point about your dad from earlier, though, about why he won't eat red meat, I know this is going to sound like a weird segue, but to hear me out, like,
yeah.
I have a dog. I know you have Dino and now by proxy Sugar,
Right.
And us having the dog has made me very much an animal lover. Not that I wasn't before, but my level of love for animals has increased exponentially every day that we have her. And seeing all those dinosaurs die on the original island as it's exploding and them falling into the ocean and whatever was heartbreaking to me. Heartbreaking.
Can I expand on that?
Please.
So look, love it or hate it, Fallen Kingdom was a good popcorn movie, right?
Yes, there's definitely a popcorn movie. No doubt about that.
First off, I am more upset the fact that they fucking built a park on a fucking island with an active volcano to begin with.
Well, and that wasn't really clear until Fallen Kingdom, though. Am I correct about that? Like, that's never addressed before that point. Am I right?
Never once they ever said, "Oh yeah, that giant thing, that's a volcano." They may have just not known, but I would have imagined Hammond been like, "Let's double check the entire island, make sure it's safe."
And they also stay, though, and I think they try to talk their way out of it in Fallen Kingdom by saying that the volcano that was once classified as inactive has been changed to active or something to that effect. They say that.
Wouldn't it have been better to find another island that didn't have a fucking possible volcano?
No, I I agree, but I mean, to be fair, I mean, not to start a whole thing, but you know Mount St. Helens out in Wyoming?
Yeah.
Is technically a dormant volcano.
I don't know if anyone's moving into Pompeii anytime soon for that possibility that Vesuvius is going to blow up, but I don't know.
People move, but listen, if Mount St. Helens goes off, you can kiss North America goodbye. That's how, that it's a super volcano. It's one of those volcanoes, it's that level that if that thing goes off, we're all dead. And it's not maybe, it's just done. You know?
Well, North America, I mean,
no,
you know.
it's the explosion it'll be an extinction level event. That's how intense that thing would be if it goes off. It would wipe out North America instantly, but the cloud would become extinction level for everyone else.
Well, maybe life will find a way.
Oh, I'm sure. But
no.
anyway,
yeah,
I didn't mean to get into a thing, but
back.
like you can't. But it's been classified as like either dormant or inactive for, you know, thousands of years at this point. But that doesn't mean it can't switch.
So when Steph and I saw it, we saw it with Michael, we saw it with a coworker of his, and we're all into it. We're all like that. I did like Fallen Kingdom. It's definitely my least favorite, but I kind of dug the Gothic mansion setting. Like I mean, the whole cloning of the fucking granddaughter thing, that was kind of weird. It works with the story,
but it was weird. It was
her whole thing, like setting the dinosaurs free because I'm alive like them, like, and
yeah,
because
yeah, I mean,
I get it because you're a clone and they're clones and genetics and shit.
It would have made more sense. It would have made more sense for Claire, right? Is that the Bryce Dallas? It would have made more sense for her to hit the button as the person who was trying to preserve the animals on the island at the beginning of the movie. You know what I mean? Like, but
so
anyway.
we got to the part where they get on the boat and the ship is taken off, and then you hear, and they turn and there's just that Brachiosaurus.
Yep.
Like just doing the, hey guys, wait up, where are you? Hey, and this is what's so fucked up. That is the Brachiosaurus from the very first movie.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, because that's a symbol. That's the first dinosaur you see in any of these movies is a Brachiosaurus.
And I had no idea, but they feature that fucking Brachiosaurus throughout the franchise.
Yeah, they absolutely. Except for, I think, The Lost World. I don't think it's in The Lost World.
Maybe not The Lost. No, I'm not just talking about like this shows it. There's always a little thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like in Jurassic World, the computer dude who played fucking Peter B. Parker in Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
When he leaves Jurassic World, he picks up the Brachiosaurus little toy that he has lined up on his desk.
Okay.
And so the fucking Brachiosaurus is like, hey guys, what are you doing? And then the smoke engulfs it.
Yeah.
And then for a split second, it lifts its hind legs up. Just like in the first Jurassic Park when it's reaching for the fucking leaves. Yeah. And that's that pose where Alan Grant and Ellie are fucking looking like it's a dinosaur and the thing lifts. I mean, that was when you're a little kid, that's the first like movie magic. You're like, that's a dinosaur.
Dude, I'm almost 40 and I watched it the other day and I was like, oh.
Right?
Like the first one, not the death scene. I'm talking about that first scene with, yeah.
Right. So it takes the same pose, but then you realize it's doing that pose because there's lava on its feet and it's trying to stand up to not be burned. Son of a bitch, dude. They just fucking said, oh, your favorite thing of your childhood? Fuck you. It's dead.
It's not even that, though. It's also like, I mean, I agree. I'm not discrediting any. I'm 100% with you on all that. But also, like, when Claire and the overly scared IT guy who was just, you know, crying the whole bloody fucking movie is, you know, they're in that, what do they call them? The gyrospheres, I think? The ball? Yeah. And
which Steph pointed out they would be way dirtier.
Oh, probably. Yeah.
They'd be covered in shit and mud.
Yeah, I agree. No question there. But when they're sinking in the water and you see the dinosaurs like falling, drowning next to them, trying to get off the cliff, just jumping to their deaths to avoid the lava. It was heartbreaking for me, dude. Like, I got to be honest with you. Like, it was really. I don't want to get off topic from it, but I've actually considered going vegan. Like, that's how much I'm like getting to a point where
because of that movie.
No, just because of like my love for animals and like the thought of like killing animals for food is like starting to bother me a little bit. To be honest with you,
could you go? Have you been vegetarian before?
No, I probably would start there, but yeah.
I would definitely start there before even just jumping. Your body would just go through a shock.
Oh, no, I get that. I'm just saying, like, I've considered it. Like, I don't know if I'll ever do it because I do still love me a good hamburger. I'm not going to lie, but it is the conflict that is in my brain now when I eat food. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, I get it.
So.
And that would be the main reason for me. If I went vegan or vegetarian, it would not be because vegetables taste better. It's because I just don't want animals to die.
Yeah. Or I'd start eating like those Impossible burgers. You know what I'm talking about? Those like genetically engineered hamburgers or whatever. So,
because it's not so much the chewing of the meat that we like, it's the flavor.
Yeah. And I don't need it to be real meat as long as it got the same flavor. So,
anyways.
Fuck, I eat chicken nuggets. I'm pretty sure that's not real chicken.
That's true. That's definitely true.
Anyway, that reminds me. Dinosaurs used to look like chickens. No, I don't know. I just wanted to link it back.
But
look, these movies are good. I like I said to you earlier, my biggest problem is when I come off the islands. Like, it just becomes, like, the whole thing is unrealistic, like I said. I mean, the fact that dinosaurs could be cloned, actually, that's not so unrealistic at this point. But,
I keep hearing reports of that. Like, they just managed to, they could possibly bring back a mastodon.
Yeah, I saw that. I mean. And
my argument is, did any of those fuckers see the movies?
Well, mastodon compared to a T-Rex is a huge difference, but yeah.
No, it's not. A mastodon could look. An elephant can crush someone. What the fuck do you think a mastodon could do?
Yeah, but they're not as aggressive. Here's the thing: if you told me they were gonna bring back Brachiosaurus, thumbs up, go for it, because it's gonna just eat a whole bunch of trees. You're gonna bring back a T-Rex? No, thank you. So,
going to our argument before about how like the T-Rex was sort of the hero. Later films. Yeah,
especially in the first Jurassic World. Yeah.
They did the same thing with raptors. The raptors were the scariest fucking thing of the first two movies.
Yep. And I will tell you right now, when I thought Blue was going to die, my heart broke.
Right? Now we're like, oh, Blue. You're like, motherfucker, it's a raptor. These fuckers terrorized us when we were children. They they gave us that claustrophobic feeling of watching these two kids be in a kitchen with two fucking raptors. Like, and Spielberg is a fucking genius.
Yeah.
When it came to that.
Yeah.
Like that part where Tim is slipping, his feet are slipping in the freezer.
Yeah.
That just adds to our
Yeah.
And we're not sure that this movie would not show a kid getting eaten. At the first viewing of Jurassic Park, you're like, all right, the lawyer's dead. They killed Samuel L. Jackson. They fucked up Ian Malcolm. Is anyone safe? And
by the way, speaking of the joke we made about the black guy dying in the horror film, you never actually see him get killed. You know he's dead. It's very obvious he's dead. I'm not questioning whether or not he's dead. But you don't see him get fucked up.
Right.
He just goes off camera, and then later on you see his arm. But that's it.
There's not that many other... There's very few black people in the Jurassic Park franchise.
What, Italians?
No, there's very few black people.
Oh, I thought you said my people. My fault. I misheard you.
No. There's very few people. There's very few black people in the Jurassic Park franchise. There's always one. There's one in every movie.
I don't know if there's one in every movie. I think there's Sam Jackson. I think there's one in the first Jurassic World. And I think that's it. I don't think there are any in the other ones.
There's a guy who is like Owen's buddy, who's like speaking French throughout the whole thing.
I don't remember him.
He's Chris Pratt's like other trainer. He's the guy who played fucking.
Oh, okay.
But like in Jurassic Park 3, one of the mercenaries is black, and then but I'm trying to think if there's any of them.
There's really not. No, you're right.
In Jurassic Park 2, I don't think.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, like maybe one of the fucking dudes that works.
I'm not even trying to get like stereotypical or racial or whatever, but like not even in Fallen Kingdom in the auction do you have some dude from Kenya like bidding on dinosaurs. Like I don't think there's one there too.
All those fucking like emails I get for like someone who like someone from Africa who's got $3 million and they want to wire their fucking money to me. They just see my banking route number. Where the fuck are those? They should have been that boardroom thing.
Yeah, on a quick side note, I almost when those first came around, so we're talking like 99, 2000.
Yeah.
I almost bought into that. It wasn't until they asked for my bank account number that I was like, or my bank information that I was like, no, I'm out. Like I actually did, because it wasn't the first thing. Like I think they've gotten to a point now where you respond and they immediately ask you for your banking information. When they first came out, there was a back and forth of like 10 to 15 emails before they asked for the banking information.
I've gotten into that. I've had a woman. I say quote unquote woman.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know who the fuck it is. On the
Could be a 600-pound dude named Chuck in his mother's basement.
That's right. I mostly get cam models emailing me.
What's that?
I mostly get cam models, and they're always just like,
yeah.
Like I'm always getting a new person adding me on Facebook. I'm just like, who the fuck are you? And then I like to mess with them. Be like, oh, sure, yeah, I'll totally, like, no, fuck you. And then I just waste their time.
Remind me to tell you something off air about PodAskew that kind of ties back to that. So,
okay. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. You never read the books?
No, I didn't read the books.
Dude, the books are even darker.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Like,
and generally that's the case. Yeah.
But even, like, the characters are different. Like, Hammond in the movie is jovial, Scottish, no expense, like real fucking like happy-go-lucky dude. In the book, not only does he die, but he's sort of Michael Crichton wrote him as what if Walt Disney was evil.
That's an interesting way to spin it.
It's really, really interesting. Like, and Hammond dies in the book all fucked up. He's sort of like, the crisis is over, Jurassic Park is blah, blah, blah. There's still dinosaurs around. And then he's sort of taking a stroll a little bit in the woods. And the kids find this loudspeaker where they can mimic a T-Rex roar. So he thinks it's the T-Rex near him, scares the shit out of him, and he falls down a hill and breaks his ankle.
Oh.
And then the compies, those little fucking lizard fucks, the little squeaky ones.
You know what? I gotta tell you, not to cut you off, but seeing them fuck up that one guy in the second one who was shocking all the dinosaurs, like with the zap stick, good for them. I was cheering them on when they fucked that dude up. I'm telling you.
That's the dude from Fargo, and he's also the devil in Constantine.
I'd have to see Constantine again. I have it. It's been a while since I watched it, but I never saw Fargo.
His name is Peter Stormare.
Anyway, but you were telling the thing about the book.
So what happens to that guy is exactly what happens to
Hammond.
Yeah. Also, weirdly enough, Ian Malcolm dies in the book of Jurassic Park due to his injuries, but he comes back for the second one. They said that he died. Yeah, in the book, he dies for like a minute, and then they even said like, but in the first book he dies.
There's no mention
they pulled the Coulson. He said that there was very good doctors that brought him back to life. I don't think of anything else, man.
No, I think
I just went on a Jurassic Park kick, man. I'm glad we did this because I was playing fucking Lego Jurassic World. Oh, that's the thing I want to talk about.
Sure.
As much as I like Jurassic World and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom and all of them and blah, blah, my biggest pet peeve that I have are the posters. The poster for Jurassic World and Fallen Kingdom totally looks like a different fucking franchise than the first 3 posters for Jurassic Park
I think
1,
that's
2, and 3.
probably the idea.
But I fucking hate that. It looks just like, hey, look, you like dinosaurs? Fuck dinosaurs. We have Chris Pratt.
Well,
Like, I love the simplicity of the first 3 movies.
well, the ones I'm looking at on IMDb, they're all that basic icon that you're used to seeing.
Right. And that's great. That's all you need.
Well, that's
anyone
what I'm saying.
who looks at that poster is going to be like, I wonder what this is about.
But that's what I'm saying. Even the Jurassic World ones, the posters that they're showing on IMDb at least are that image. It's not. Well, no, okay, yeah, the one's got Pratt on the bike. It's still got the logo, but it's down to the bottom a little bit.
It's got the logo, but it shows Chris Pratt on a motorcycle with raptors, which is a fucking ridiculous scene in the movie. It works really well. But that's my point, is they just slapped him on, and I'm not blaming Colin Trevorrow. I'm not blaming Chris Pratt.
No, that's the marketing department.
That is all marketing. I would have 100% preferred because if you think of the first poster, what is it? Black backdrop.
Yep.
Red emblem, skeleton, Jurassic Park with the font we know, right?
And outlined in yellow. Yeah.
Outlined in yellow. Then the second one is the same thing, but the logo looks really kind of faded and shitty and cracked, like it's been out in the wild and it's old. The third one, they use the Spinosaurus logo. It's a Spinosaurus skeleton. You have the shadow of the pterodon in the background, or kind of overlapping it.
Yeah, it's more of the foreground, but yeah.
Right, foreground. And then the 3 is a slash of the Roman numeral 3, a bunch of claws of the thing.
I thought was a good pull.
It's it fits with the template of the poster, but they tweaked it. But what they should have done for Jurassic World is have the Indominus skeleton, or have a raptor skeleton. No Chris Pratt, no motorcycle.
Yeah, a Donovan for the first one and the Indoraptor for the second one.
Or even just have it be Jurassic World and have the T-Rex skeleton, but instead of it being yellow or red, have it be blue. Because in Jurassic World, it's blue. Jurassic Park, it's red, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
But Fallen Kingdom falls in that fucking fucked up thing too, where it shows the volcano erupting and all these dinosaurs running, and it shows Chris Pratt mid-run and fucking Bryce Dallas Howard mid-run with them fleeing.
Yeah,
like,
but that's...
Fuck no, dude. Like,
that's the marketing department. That's what that is.
And I'm saying, you know, it sucks.
If I'm going to nitpick one quick thing, since you did yours with the poster, I'll do my one, and then we'll bid adieu to the islands of Jurassic World and Park. But is, because the T-Rex, as we've talked about from the first one, reappears in Jurassic World, and I think even in the second one, I think it makes an appearance.
In Fallen Kingdom?
Yeah. I think that's the one they take the blood from in the transit, but it's not as impactful as it is in the first Jurassic World.
Mm-hmm.
The roar from its appearances in the first trilogy, if you will, is consistent. They didn't use the same roar. It's actually a different... If you hear it tonally, it's different. And I guess there's... In World.
Okay.
Now, I guess the argument could be made that it's 20 years older and maybe it's gravelly or whatever, but I would have liked for that consistency. I don't think it would have been that too far off to use the same one. But I mean, I'm not getting... but you got nitpicky about the poster. I'm going to get nitpicky about the T-Rex roar. So...
Well, it sounds... I mean, what I liked was it didn't sound like the Indominus. The Indominus had a fucking roar.
Yeah. I agree with you there, and so did the Indoraptor in Fallen Kingdom. So it had its own distinct voice. So yeah, I can't. Yeah,
that was one of my criticisms about Indoraptor. It was that, as scary as it looked like a terrifying dinosaur. It looked like a big raptor. It looked more like a raptor than the Indominus Rex, even though that thing's part raptor, which is another fucking trailer line that Chris Pratt fucking throws in. That part where it fucking eats Buffalo Bill, like, oh shit, great big fat dinosaur. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like,
I think so, yeah.
the guy who's from Silence of the Lambs, this Buffalo Bill, plays the dude who tries to rip the tooth out of the Indo-rapper when he thinks it's trait.
Oh, I didn't realize that was him. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, but you were going to make a point.
It looks like a fucking Looney Tunes cartoon. Like
the
tail
Indoraptor itself? Yeah.
The Indoraptor, even though it's a practical effect, that's an animatronic.
Sure.
It waves his tail, and he kind of looks, the tail's back down, and you see a close-up of the Indoraptor's face. Yeah. It has a smirk.
Like a grin. Yeah, I
like
noticed.
A grin. You're like, I'm going to get this fucker. Like, all it was missing was Looney Tunes music. Like a little melody, kind of like Looney Tunes or Tom and Jerry or some shit.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, one of the biggest things we forgot to talk about, the music. Dude.
Oh, yeah.
I mean...
Well, that's just John Williams for you. That's
John Williams, but like the Jurassic Park theme, everyone knows it.
It's as iconic as it's as iconic as some of his other stuff like Star Wars, and because I think he did Star Wars, didn't he? Or no, yeah. So I mean, yeah, he's got iconic music, and
it's Indiana Jones, it's Jurassic Park, it's Star Wars, and even Harry Potter. Like, that dude could just make iconic music.
Definitely.
He's 90 years old, sits down and says, all right, I'm going to make history today.
Basically.
But I will give credit. Michael Giacchino, who did the music for Jurassic World, did a great job.
Well, and I would, and this is a discussion for another day, but I would argue he's becoming this generation's John Williams.
I would agree. He is definitely... If I could think of like another movie composer, I mean, because he did the music for Rogue One.
Yeah,
he made He made a Star Wars music without being overly John Williams. This one, the tinkling of the.
Same thing with Spider-Man: Homecoming, without actually using like the traditional Spider-Man music. So yeah, we probably should we should maybe do an episode. As much as I love music, maybe we should do a composer episode sometime. We'll have to,
Steph's show told me, and I think I listened to it, like there's a soundtrack podcast thing that...
Yes, she told me about it. I think she reached out to them for us, but they didn't get back to her.
I don't know if they got back to her, but she... Like the guy... No, he didn't. But the guy did a whole episode all about like the music of two episodes of John Williams, and specifically Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Fuck, it would have been like, if we ever do a part 2 of this, we'll just call it like...
Bring them on.
A walk in the world. But anyways, man, I think the best thing about these movies is we could talk about them for hours. But I know we need to wrap things up. You're hungry. I need a proper smoke apart from this fucking blue bullshit. Speaking of blue.
You're right. So, I think I thank everybody for listening, as always. And stay away from islands. That's basically my advice.
And if you're going to walk through an island, make sure it's not 65 million years ago.
And don't wear heels.
Fucking heels.
CJ here with a few thank yous and to let you know how you can get in touch with and follow the show and us. For PodAskew, go to iTunes, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts on your iPhone, and Google Play Music on your Android phone to listen to, subscribe, rate, and comment on the show, or the Listen Notes podcast search engine at www.listennotes.com. Go there, type in PodAskew, all one word, and you can stream us right there. If you want to agree with or yell at us directly, follow Rico, me, and the show on Twitter. The show is at PodAskew, Rico is at RantsRico, and I'm at M_Blade. If you need to contact the show for promotional reasons, tweet Stephanie at PodAskewPR. Check out Rico's YouTube channel, Rico's Rants, on YouTube at www.youtube.com/Rico's Rants. Thank you to Dubbed in English for our opening theme music, 96 Reasons. They're no longer online, but you can contact me for a copy of the full song or the whole Plan 9 EP. Thank you to Samuel Lemons for our closing music, Theme Askew. You can find his music on SoundCloud at www.soundcloud.com/Samuel-Lemons. Finally, our biggest thank you is to you, everyone, for listening. Rico and I really appreciate your time and look forward to bringing you another episode soon.
Now, eventually, you do plan to have dinosaurs on your dinosaur tour, right? Hello?
PodAskew